riffs are too repetitive, the lyrics make no sense. All the songs are B-sides and the cover art's a mess. There's so much here to tear apart. Listen to it for a week, now that week has passed. It's Why I Hate This Album podcast with Tim and Garrett.
Hello and welcome to another episode of Why I Hate This Album, the show where we pick an album or a song, listen to it for an entire week straight, and then come back here and inform you, the listener, if we hate it, and of course, why. I am one of your hosts, Garrett Harvey. With me, as always, co-host extraordinaire, Steve Urkel to my Stefan Urkel, Timothy Richardson. Steve, how are you doing? And don't say bad.
Oh, Garrett, I am...
Oh, God damn it.
Embarrassed, I think, this week.
Oh?
Yeah. Jaden Smith and I wore the same thing to the Grammys this week, and Garrett, I hate to admit it, but he wore a big black castle on his head better than I did, and to make it worse, I showed up late. He had already walked the red carpet with his big black head castle, so it wasn't even novel when I got there.
Yeah, that's tough.
Yeah. I mean, luckily, I did not wear my original planned outfit, which was what Bianca Sensori wore, the head architect at Yeezy, but that would have been super embarrassing.
Yeah, for a few reasons.
Yeah.
I can't help but feel a little responsible here. You asked me point blank, do you think anyone else will be wearing a giant castle on their head? And I said, for fuck's sake, no.
Yeah, you know what? I don't blame you, Garrett. I do not blame you. I think you did. In any other day, that would have been the right response.
But not that day.
Yeah. To make matters worse, though, my Ratatouille rat is feuding with Jaden's, and they kind of got us into a bit of a scuffle at one of those after parties. But I'm here now. How are you? You doing good? Let's get into this Prepisode.
Yeah, I'm all right. Your Ratatouille rat. For the sake of my own sanity, I'm not going to ask any follow-up questions and try to divert the episode back towards something
Pulling
that
on
resembles...
my hair to answer your question.
Yeah, no. I got to tell you, not a big fan of that movie.
Also, sometimes some bites.
Yeah, okay. I think you just have a rat living in your hair.
In my head castle, yes, as does he.
That, to be fair, it is a head castle. God damn that asshole. From now on, when you ask me a completely asinine question, my first response will be, will Jaden Smith be there? Because it's tantamount for answering.
You know, I will say this. It appeared far less racist when he wore a brilliantly white Batman costume than when I did it. I don't know why. I wasn't trying to make a statement with it.
No,
I was just being Day Batman.
Yeah, Day Batman. Snow Batman.
Yeah.
Okay, Tim, when not attending the Grammys with a giant foam castle on your head, what song have you been listening to for an entire week straight?
Oh, Garrett, it was not foam, but we have been listening to Stephen Miller and his band's 1982 single, Abracadabra. And I have to say, Garrett, great choice for our Febby Spook celebration. This thing, fucking spooky.
There's nothing spooky about it. There's nothing spooky about this week. There's nothing spooky about this month.
This is a spooky song.
False. Tim, after an entire week with Steve Miller, his band, and their song, Abracadabra, do you hate this song?
Ooh, Garrett.
Be honest.
I think so. I think I do. I mean, this is a really irritating song. I could see myself reverse getting there depending on how much I enjoy talking about this song. But at the moment, I really, every time this thing came on, I started to get a little bit of an eye twitch this week.
Interesting. I can't fault you. It feels harsh, but I cannot fault you. Everything you said is true.
Yeah. What about you? Do you hate this Febby spooky song?
It's not spooky. I hate you.
Garrett, before you say it's not spooky, would you like me to read to you from Thelema or any other Alistair Crowley references to Abracadabra, or would you rather wait for that?
Let's wait for that.
Okay.
I want everyone to sit with bated breath in anticipation of you once again quoting Alistair Crowley.
Oh, I mean, I feel like now we're building it up to be too much. Garrett, do you hate this song?
No.
Oh, you're going to get there.
Yeah, I am going to get there because it is super irritating.
Yeah.
It's an irritating song.
This is not what the 80s are for. Like when the synth became integrated into rock and roll, they wanted to do, I mean, kind of this, but this is like just far enough off that no.
It's a bar band playing new wave.
Yes, that's accurate.
And to that I say, but that's not what we're here to talk about just yet. Before we can do that, I need to understand, Tim, prior to this week, what's your history with Mr. Miller, his band, his Abras, his Cadabras? Have you heard this song before?
Yes, Garrett. Garrett, I have heard this song probably thousands of times. Most recently, in November or December last year, I went to Sedona to do some hikes, and for whatever reason, when we were there, we actually just listened to the radio. At least on Sedona Classic Rock Radio, this song is played at least twice per hour, every hour. It is ridiculous. In the 4 to 5 days we were there, I heard this song at least 53 times. It was nonsense. We have, of course, also talked about this song specifically before on this show way back on June 5th, 2018, when we discussed Sugar Ray's cover of it. Yes. But yeah, so I'm very familiar with this, and I'm familiar with approximately, when I was going through the history, and we will get there, I'm familiar with about one song on every album that he does, because he seems to release singles and then for some reason record a whole album around those singles, and no one's heard any of those other songs. Yes, I've heard probably 5 to 6 Steve Miller Band songs before, and I'm very familiar with all of them. What about you? Are you a fan? Are you a longtime Steve Miller head? Steve head?
Almost the exact same history as you. I was a big fan of the Joker when I was a child, because I was a child. And then, like most people, I played it too many times before the age of 14 and then didn't really give Steve Miller Band another thought. But then when you, after your trip to Sedona, were just like, have you ever just paid attention to this? Gave it another listen, and I said, this is WIHTA material right here. This is a bad song.
Yeah.
So yeah, I've heard his hits. Nothing outside of the hits. I maintain no one's heard anything but the hits, because who could bother? I've never once been inclined to seek any of his other music, and I would bet that his best-selling albums are greatest hits albums.
They are, yes. Would you like to do the history? Seems like you covered most of it there.
Did I?
No, not at all. Oh. I've got so much history, Garrett.
Oh, great. Nope, can't pretend. I'm not thrilled to hear that at all.
I think you're going to enjoy it.
You always say that, and then you get a whole bunch of history about, Mesopotamia, and that somehow has something to do with Gwar.
We're going to be talking about Thelema a lot, Garrett.
God damn it. Alrighty, that's your history, that's my history. That is to say, we know the hits, and that's about it. Just like everyone listening right now. Before we can talk about the song itself, the meaning, the lyrics, the intent, the desires, we need to understand a little bit about the people who made it and how it came to be. So Timmy, take us on a journey. Help me understand, help the listener understand. Who is Steve Miller? What is his band? And how did this song come to be?
Well, Gary, my boy, Stephen Haworth Miller was born in Milwaukee in 1943 to a mother who was a jazz singer and a father who was a pathologist, a jazz enthusiast, and a recording engineer, at least part-time. His parents, weirdly, were really good friends with Mary Ford and Les Paul. Good enough friends that they served as the maid of honor and best man at Les Paul's wedding, and Les Paul was Steve's godfather. Steve played guitar very early on. Les encouraged him after hearing a recording of him playing at 6, saying, he might amount to something someday. Then, the family moved to Dallas, Texas, where his dad recorded musicians such as Charles Mingus and T-Bone Walker at their house. T-Bone actually taught Steve to play guitar with his teeth when Steve was 9 years old, and just to be clear, not a euphemism, not an accusation.
That's good. That's good.
Steve went to St. Mark's School in Dallas, educator of Tommy Lee Jones, Ross Perot's son, Ross Perot, various footballers, Owen and Luke Wilson, and Garrett P. Harvey's favorite Monuments man, Roscoe DeWitt. Go Wildcats.
What an awful movie to reference.
Yeah. Boz Skaggs also went there, and Steve taught Boz to play some guitar. They started a band together called the Marksmen before he left school, possibly got kicked out, that's what he said in 2004, but who knows, and had to go to Woodrow Wilson High School alongside Hank Hill's cousin, ZZ Top's Dusty Hill.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Steve and Boz then went to the University of Wisconsin at Madison. They were in the band The Ardells after teaching some other guys to play their various instruments. Then Boz moved to London and busked his way to Stockholm, where he recorded a solo album, which no one liked. Steve also moved to Europe. He went to the University of Copenhagen for a bit, but left a few credits shy of getting his degree to play blues in Chicago, where he performed at a bunch of blues clubs and played with Paul Butterfield, Muddy Waters, Howlin' Wolf, and Bud and Sky.
Interesting. He sounds like a bit of a fancy boy. Went to a private school with Tommy Lee Jones, then just goes out of state for school, then out of country for school. Like, who's doing this?
Yeah, not in the 60s. In 1965, he formed the Goldberg Miller Blues Band with with Barry Goldberg. They released a single and signed with Epic Records, and then he did a residency at a Big Apple Blues Club. He returned to Chicago, but hated that. Then he moved to Austin to finish his degree at UT, but he hated that. So he got a Volkswagen bus, he drove to San Francisco and formed the Steve Miller Band with Boss Skaggs, whom he summoned to San Francisco with a postcard in 1966. He opened for and possibly played with Chuck Berry and some other people, and released a psychedelic blues album, Children of the Future, in 1968.
Could you imagine sending somebody a postcard and being like, hey, I'm setting up a band, come to this other state. Hey, do you think he's going to come? Send him a postcard.
Yeah, we'll just wait around here. But I mean, that's what people did then.
Yeah, just like, well, the postcard probably took about 3 days, and then he's got to pack his shit. So, I don't know, 3 to 5 weeks. We'll just, wait around.
Yeah, we're not doing anything.
God.
This new Steve Miller Band released Sailor in 1968 that featured Gangster of Love. Then Boss Skaggs left, and Steve and Company released Brave New World in 1969, which featured Space Cowboy, Your Saving Grace in 69, Number 5 in 1970, Rock Love in 71, Recall from the Beginning, A Journey from Eden, and Anthology in 1972. And then, all of these albums, by the way, are not particularly selling well. Well, they're selling well, but he doesn't really have a hit single, he doesn't really have a hit album. But that would change in 1973 when he had a huge hit with The Joker, which hit number 1 in the US, UK, and the Dutch, and sold more than 6 million copies in the US alone. On the heels of that success, the band decided to take a bunch of time off.
Let's strike while the iron's hot, gentlemen, and take a break.
Exactly. 3 or 4 years later, they released Fly Like an Eagle, then A Book of Dreams in 1977, on which he started to do some weird business shenanigans at this point, like he would separate technically the intro of a song from its actual song, so it would be multiple tracks for no other reason than to generate separate publishing royalties on those intros to songs, particularly if it was a song that he didn't write. He would record like a 50-second intro, the music of which he did write, and that would just be a separate song.
God, what a son of a bitch.
Yeah. That album also featured the excellent track Jungle Love, which was used as the opening credits theme and also repeatedly in the excellent television program Everybody Loves Raymond 25 years later.
I was going to say, what in the world are you going to... What is the end of the sentence going to be?
It's Everybody Loves Raymond.
Is that the theme song?
I think for not all seasons, but the later seasons.
I can't say that I've ever seen the opening.
Oh, we're going to watch it. We'll
watch
the
show
all
for that matter.
In 1978, the band released Greatest Hits 1974 to 1978 that to date has sold more than 15 million copies in the US alone. That is, according to Wikipedia, either quintuple platinum or triple quintuple platinum. Or quintuple triple platinum. Whichever way you want to say it.
None.
Then they took another break, Garrett, for about 3 to 4 years. In 1981, they came back with Circle of Love. That did not sell very well. But then in 1982, they released Abracadabra, both the album and the song of the week. The album hit number 40. It was certified platinum. And this is the last musical thing that anyone's going to care about with this band or this man. He released a few albums between 1984 and 83. They took a hiatus before doing a covers album called Bingo in 2010 and Let Your Hair Down in 2011. But basically, Abracadabra is the last hit that he's going to have.
Yeah.
From 2010 to 2011, he taught some sort of music industry class at USC, which based on his business decisions, probably a great person to learn from.
Yeah, I mean, potentially going to teach you some stuff that might land you in like jail for tax fraud, but if not, great business acumen.
Absolutely. In 2016, he was inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, and I think just him, not the full band.
That's so shitty.
Yeah, I'm not 100% sure. I did not do too much research into that. I know that he is at least inducted as a solo person, even though doesn't really seem to have much solo stuff. Whatever.
No, I wonder what they'll do with like Shins and Eels.
They're not going to accept either of them, Garrett. Come on.
Oh, they'll both be in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame.
Nah,
especially Eels.
Garrett, I have U.S. and Russia at the UN like veto power of that. They will not get in.
You love both of those bands.
I know.
Well, did at one point.
I know, and I want to protect them from not being
God, I don't know what I have bumped into here, but I'm just going to say okie dokie.
Now, Steve Miller said he hated the experience of being inducted in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, partially because they vetoed his proposal to be inducted by Elton John and instead forced the Black Keys to induct him. Now, they also hated the experience because Steve was super unpleasant. He didn't know who they were. He did not treat them well, and he spent a lot of time talking about how the Hall of Fame was misogynistic.
I mean, fair.
Yeah.
But funny.
Yeah. Also, at some point in here, he joined the Bohemian Club. So, not to get too after dark here.
Wait, what?
Not to get too after dark here, Garrett, but he was probably known by Ronald Reagan and probably knew him in return, in the biblical sense, whilst the great eternal owl watched in approval.
So, wait, you're literally talking about Bohemian Grove here.
Yes.
So he prayed at the altar of Moloch in the woods.
Yes, and he knew Reagan and Reagan knew him while the owl watched.
Allegedly.
Now, his career took an even weirder turn, Garrett, in January 2017 when he inexplicably became senior advisor to then and current president and God Emperor Donald Johannesburg Trump, along with Jared Kushner, where he designed a series of, what I'm just going to say it, really shitty policies surrounding immigration, cracking down on sanctuary cities, reducing the number of Syrian refugees from that civil war, firing James Comey, reversing DACA, that child separation policy, banning Chinese nationals, the Muslim ban, suggesting dipping Abu Bakr al-Baghdadi's head in pig's blood and parading it around to warn terrorists that the U.S. is just unabashedly pro-war crime, using COVID to crack down on immigration, that plan to send fake electors to Congress to overturn democracy, and pushing definitive neo-Nazi propaganda in the government, allegedly. Now, he allegedly...
Steve Miller Band did all that?
Well, not the band, but Stephen Miller, yes.
Oh, I see the problem.
Anyway, Garrett, he also drafted most of the executive orders so far signed by Trump in his second term because, and this is true, Steve Miller right back in power.
God damn it. All from Abracadabra.
Yeah. And we will get into Thelema later. I got some rants to go on, Garrett. Abracadabra has an interesting history. But that's his history, so I will say bazinga.
God, I hate you so much. Are you just on like a irritate Garrett roll today? What's going on here?
I don't think so.
I disagree. Well, I'll give you an Abra and a Cadabra right back.
Well, you don't know what you have just done in the world of true magic, Garrett.
I don't know what you just said.
I'll get into it later. Don't worry.
You could not? True magic. Come at me, wizards.
Do you want to... Okay, let's just talk about the word itself, Garrett. From the Hebrew, meaning I will create as I speak, in Aramaic, I create like the world. This is a very powerful magic word, and you did hear me right, Garrett. That's magic with a K. Originally created to ward off malaria, particularly when worn as a triangular amulet. But as we all know, it was co-opted by Aleister Crowley as Abracadabra in the Book of the Law, the central sacred text of Thelema, with a spelling change to represent the god Horus. Also for Kabbalistic reasons, Garrett. Consisting of 11 letters, it represents a dynamic interaction between the micro and macrocosms, bridging the finite and infinite. The numerical value of Abracadabra, obviously being 418, symbolizing containment and protection, is also a word of double power, a symbol of the establishment of the pillar and phallus. The Aeon of Horus has begun and will end as such. The crowned and conquering child who dieth not, nor is reborn, but goeth radiant upon his way. Ever so goeth the sun, for it is now that night is but a shadow of the earth, so death is but a shadow of the body that violeth his light from the bearer.
For those of you who have not found the feed, from the moment Tibb said, all right, let's get into this.
Its first flower may well be this, that freed of the obsession of the doom of the ego in death. And
he is reciting this from memory. I have never been more frightened. You have the confidence and rhythm of a young Samuel L. Jackson delivering a monologue in Pulp Fiction.
Uttering the word Thelema destroys completely the formula of the dying god. Thelema implies not merely a new religion, but a new cosmology, a new philosophy, a new ethics. It coordinates the connected discoveries of science from physics to psychology into a coherent and consistent system, Garrett.
God damn you. This has to stop.
Okay, I'm sorry.
Yeah. It's not worshiping the devil, though, right?
Absolutely not, Garrett. It's something way weirder.
Yeah, it does seem way weirder.
It's Egyptian, maybe? I don't really know.
Did he work with LRH to make it all way more like sexy?
Oh yes, because they founded NASA together, Garrett. I could get into the history, the occult history of NASA if you would like.
I would like you to not. Okay, let's move on. Books of Thelema. goodness. Like, you've just exposed so many people to, like, just pure hot garbage.
Honestly,
they were better
a few
off not
people
knowing.
might, we'll leave it for them to decide.
Listeners, write in, heypodmail@gmail.com. Do you believe in any of the nonsense Tim just said? I would love to hear it. Okay, let's get into the song, Tim. In case anybody's never heard it and you don't have a chance to give it a listen, and I swear to God, if you're sitting in front of a computer or a phone or something with a fucking screen and you're not operating a motor vehicle, go watch the music video, because no amount of description is going to help you. But it'll be a good chance to catch up on the song and remind yourself that, oh right, this is kind of irritating after a minute. Here it is, ladies and gentlemen, Steve Miller Band and his Abracadabra.
And now, Garrett, apologetics and their Barack and Deborah.
Barack and Deborah? I swear to God, we should get into the Christian parody business, because I think we could do way better.
Well, you're not willing to read your Bible. Garrett, the thing about apologetics is every one of their songs is, the word is cited, Garrett. Chapter and verse.
I'm sure I can find ways to rhyme Josephus.
How about this,
Jebediah?
Garrett? A Thelema parody version.
Oh, right, for all those Thelema heads out there.
Well, if we don't do that, Garrett, I've wasted a lot of my week.
I have been saying that all week. I have literally screamed in your face routinely, "You're wasting your time. Please return these books to the library."
I tried to turn you into some sort of goat head. Didn't work. Didn't work.
No, magic. And this is true. Not real. Oh, goodness. Good stuff.
Now, you're saying that without the K, though, which I agree with. That type of magic is not real.
Gino, let's put Tim down for a slap after the show. Not enough to interrupt it, but I don't want to forget.
Garrett, what genre is this?
Ooh, this is
classic rock. I mean, technically, but no.
Yes, technically. It is okay, let me give him sort of a compliment. It is a 70s blues bar band that sees the writing on the wall and is attempting to make a new wave song.
Yes, I think that's accurate. Yeah, it's very synthy, right?
Yeah.
The weird thing, though, is in my memory, it's much older than it is, because musically, like with the synth things, you can't really take it out of the 80s, right? Like 82, when this came out, is about as early as you could possibly say. But otherwise, and sort of how the song sits in my memory, where it loses a little bit of that 80s sheen, like I would have guessed earlier, because it feels like sort of a slightly updated Love Potion number 9 kind of thing.
Oh,
and
wow, okay.
It's in my head, like if you were take off the Sedona, a week before I went to Sedona, if you're like, what year did Abracadabra come out? I would have guessed, I don't know, 69, 70?
Oh, I definitely would have said it was in the 70s, but it was 80, what, 81, 82?
82, yeah.
82, yeah. I would have said it was 77, 78, only because, like, you just didn't have sounds like this in mainstream music till
no, that's
at
fair.
least the late 70s.
But in my
like,
memory...
who were the folks we did with that did Domo Arigato? Who was that?
Oh, Stick? No.
Yeah, Styx, wasn't it? Styx.
Yeah.
But, like, that was a lot of late 70s stuff with heavy synth.
Yeah, right. I mean, that's fair. But, like, in my memory, the music is somewhat more similar to The Joker than it is to whatever this is.
Yes. Now, that's where you and I agree. In my memory, before we listened to it on repeat this week, I would have said it was much more hewing to the classic Steve Miller Band sound. But if you listen to this over and over, you're just like, this is firmly in the 80s.
Yeah.
It's irritating.
Yeah. What's weird is that this Abracadabra may be the most frequent song title ever used. I counted 36 unique songs with this title. From 1971 was the earliest one I found. I'm sure there's earliers that I didn't make. But also to a Lady Gaga song, which was literally released yesterday and performed publicly for the first time 2 days ago at the Grammys.
Oh, God, that is true. Jesus Christ. That is weird. Now, I noticed you're adding an abra to the Abracadabra.
I think I'm saying it the way he does.
You're saying it the way it's sung, but it's certainly not the title.
You don't know that.
I do know that. You know that. We all know that. Anyway, let's see here. That's what it sounds like. Let's get into, what can we say generically before we get into the real lyrics of it? Because it's tough, right? It's a very basic song.
Yeah, it kind of sucks. Kind of sucks. Everyone should prepare themselves for this thing sucking a bit.
Honestly, I think it's not nearly as bad as you're making it sound if you listen to it once.
Yes, if you listen to it once.
Not to do what we did.
Right.
Or to live in Sedona.
Well,
apparently.
I disagree. I think you just get yourself, one of those iPods that I've been hearing so much about.
My goodness. Connect it with like an aux cable.
Oh, yeah.
Maybe get one of those tape thingies you put in the tape deck and then run it into your CD player. Why are you 80?
I don't appreciate the way you're dismissing that. It's a good system.
It's not.
If you have a tape deck,
Wireless CarPlay. That is a good system. Apparently, this song is inspired by Miss Diana Ross, who Miller had met when they each performed at the same episode of the pop music television show Hullabaloo in the 60s.
Yeah.
And hope for his sake that's a lie.
Well, based on the lyrics of this song, I assume that means he got a unrequited boner,
unrequited boner. That's going to be your memoir.
Yeah, I mean, maybe the subtitle, I don't think that should be the headline there. But yeah, I mean, based on this, if this is about Diana Ross, this is about how he was horny for her and then did not get to do anything about Diana Ross.
Yeah, more or less. Now, I have a very different read on this song.
Yeah, premature ejaculation. I'm right there with you.
Oh, I have another different read as well.
Garrett is furiously scribbling for those of you who have not found the feed. He's scratching a bunch of notes out.
What else need be said here, Tim?
No, nothing.
Let's get right into it then, folks. Song begins. I heat up, I can't cool down. You got me spinning round and round. Round and round, round it goes. Where it stops, nobody knows. Every time you call my name, I heat up like a burning flame. Burning flame, full of desire. Kiss me, baby, let the fire get higher.
And the lyrics at the end there kind of feel like he's ripping off the Doors and or possibly Johnny Cash a little bit.
Oh, I see. Yeah, that's fine. Definitely the Doors. Let's take it from the top. You got me spinning round and round. Okay, that's pretty lazy writing. Let's see where it goes from there. Round and round it goes. Where it stops, nobody knows. Holy shit, guys. So much of this song feels like a placeholder.
Yes. Like it sounds like a shitty nursery rhyme that like he's half remembered and just kind of jotted down and was just like, yeah, to that beat, we'll come up with something later.
Now, what are we talking about here exactly? You got a guy who's heating up, he can't cool down, he's uncontrollably overcome with lust for somebody.
Yes, possibly Diana Ross.
Allegedly Diana Ross. But the description later on in the song is going to point me in a different direction. Let's keep going. We get to the chorus, the main part we all know. Abracadabra. I want to reach out and grab you.
Garrett, let me stop you right here. I have been very blessed in my life to have learned a number of things that women just dislike. And near the top of that list is when you just reach out and grab them. I mean, ironically, it's just below being too clingy and having constant crippling hummus breath.
Yeah, that's not... Crippling hummus breath. Let me give you a 1B. Just informing a woman that you want to reach out and grab her.
That's actually, well, no, I don't want to say it's worse, but it's very close to as bad.
It's a quick 1-2.
Yeah, I mean, unless like the only way that it comes off well is if you have that Brooklyn construction worker voice that Garrett Harvey does so well.
Hey, abracadabra. I'm sorry, what? Abracadabra. I want to reach out and grab you. That's a long way to go, my friend. It's a Monday. Song continues, abracadabra. And here's where I want to pause it, because he seems to imply he hears these words and it's time to get down to business. And at first I'm thinking, well, this is clearly a witch or wizard who has hypnotized him, brainwashed him, sort of like a winter soldier. He hears abracadabra, uncontrollable lust, starts fucking everything like a poorly trained dog.
Yeah, but maybe it's just something he remembers from his childhood. This would be like, oh no, this would I'm not childhood, his adolescence, his high school years.
Do you think his earliest exposure to pornography might have been magic themed?
No, I think that he probably the first time he made love to a woman, she was a magician or something. Picture this, Garrett. Picture this. Okay,
oh boy.
48. And a woman says, I would like to paint your face.
I don't like this story.
Immediately hard. Right? Because it's,
No, because it's formative.
Yeah, that's my point.
No, you fucking asshole. 48, by the way, not that old. I think that this man, well, let me go just a little bit further. And then
76,
I will reveal,
right?
Yes, I'm 76 years old.
No, you were born in 76.
Oh, yes, I was born in 1976. Good God.
48.
Anyway, inaccurate. Let's keep going. You make me hot. You make me sigh. You make me laugh. You make me cry. Keep me burning for your love with the touch of a velvet glove. Ugh. Here's what I think is going on here. The Abracadabras, this guy who's in uncontrollable lust, this other person who I think might be saying, I am not thrilled with this situation. Picture this. A man, perhaps a lonely man, Tim, perhaps an ugly man, Tim, attends a weekly magic show at his local Casa Bonita. There, a woman in an outfit regaled with leather, lace, satin, she asks every week to the dark audience before, I'm going to need a volunteer for my next trick. And every week he wears a new outfit so that she does not recognize that it is him. So she calls on him. He arrives at the stage to declare, you make me hot. To which she replies, you make me sigh. You make me laugh. You make me cry. He is hot for her, Tim, and her touch of her velvet glove because she is a magician wearing a magician's outfit. He goes there every week to try to hit on her, and she has made it terrifically clear that she is uncomfortable and would like him to leave.
I love every bit of this. So he's just getting sawed in half and he is just rock hard.
Yeah, let's... Hey lady, if you get done sawing me in half, maybe you could chop down this tree. You know what I'm talking about? My penis. I like the guy that describes it in case like there's any confusion, so that just in case she's on board, she knows what's up.
Yeah, if she didn't, maybe she's bad at metaphors, but she's down.
Yeah. I feel the magic in your caress. I feel the magic when I touch your dress. Silk and satin, leather and lace, black panties with an angel's face. And that's why I was like, what the fuck's going on here? Who wears this outfit? And then it occurred to me, magician.
Yeah, definitely. Do we know it perhaps he is hitting on both the magician and the beautiful assistant.
Or just the assistant and the magician. That's why he doesn't care or even finds it hilarious that he keeps calling on this same guy. He's like, oh, your boyfriend's back. Oh, yes, I'll need someone from the audience for my next trick. And she's like, no, Jerry, don't fucking call on him.
I love that.
Yes, the large gentleman up front who's sweating profusely. Would you like to help?
And is visibly erect.
In the sweatpants with the huge boner. Do you think he means me? Yes, I do. Yes, I do. My goodness, that's quite an odor. What is that, salami? God. Song can...
Crippling hummus breath, Garrett.
Oh,
the trick is you have to replace the pita bread with slices of raw onion.
Oh my God. My stomach was never more angry with me than when I took that trip to Israel. And it was just like, guess what's for this meal? More hummus.
Yeah, you don't realize it, but that's just beans. You're just eating
pureed beans and oil.
Beans, yeah.
I know it'll wash down those beans. Some oil and carbohydrates. God, I'm dying.
Ugh, and this is why Garrett...
Oh my God. I'm just going to cut that. That's insane. That's not even funny.
Yeah.
I mean, it's very funny.
It's funny, yeah.
Sure,
we'll definitely
but not for the reasons that people might think.
I'll put it back in.
I don't want that to happen. That's going to be the largest continuous bleep this show's ever had. I want no one to know what you said. Jesus.
Oh, yeah.
Why don't you take it from there for a bit, you fucking lunatic?
I see magic in your eyes. I hear the magic in your sighs. Just when I think I'm going to get away, I hear those words you always say, abracadabra. So I think you're right. She is real angry. She is sad that this is happening yet again. This show is ruined. Presumably they're performing at like a VFW hall or something like that. But he is so...
That's why I picked like Casa Bonita. Like, where the fuck do you see magic?
Yeah, but I mean, he is so into her that he even in her like, oh my fucking God, he's like, that's kind of magical, you know? Yeah.
Oh yeah, he's misconstruing this entire situation.
Yeah.
Which, if you went to a magic show every week thinking you were going to woo the assistant and not creep her the fuck out, you probably would be a touch bad at judging social cues.
Yeah, but that's pretty much it, right? Verse 3, he kind of just repeats part of verse 1.
Yeah.
Every time you call my name, I heat up like a burning flame. Burning flame full of desire. Kiss me, baby. Let the fire get higher. And I like this because to me, this says the magician, like he's done this so many times that the magician knows his first name. He's like, yeah, Frank, get up here.
Oh, looks like we've got a regular in the audience. Frank, get on up here. Oh my God, I can't believe you're calling on me. I wore my sweatpants and everything. How you doing, Monica? Hey, how you doing, Frank? Let me get a hug. Let me get a little bit of a hug for the volunteer. Come on, everybody. Round of applause. She'll give me a hug, maybe a kiss on the cheek. What do you say, babe? Yikes. Don't invite Frank to the magic show. Now, Tim, we have to get serious for a minute. Gino, can you hit the... There we go. We are officially in the no-bit zone. I want to note the time. We are halfway through the song, halfway through the 5 minutes. 2.5 minutes have passed. That means there's 2.5 minutes to go. And that is when we hit what I'm going to describe as one of the most terrible instrumentals I've ever heard in my whole life. So bad that despite my hatred of extra work, I'm going to drop a little taste of it right here for you guys. That's how pissed off I am. Here you go. A little taste of this quote unquote instrumental. Prepare for instruments being dropped out of a van at high speeds.
That's good stuff.
But there's half a song left, and that's what we're up to. And it pretty much continuously repeats, I heat up, I can't cool down, my situation goes round and round. It's alarming to refer to it as his situation, you know? Just call it a boner.
Well, I mean, in this scenario, it has become a bit of a situation.
The vernacular makes him more intimidating somehow. Well, I'm sorry, I got a little bit of a situation in my pants. What kind of situation? Oh, Jesus.
Yeah.
That's just a boner, Frank. That's not a situation. Let's see here. Outro's the same thing I just said. Song ends with a good 30 seconds of guitar tuning and bleep blorps to remind you never want to hear this again. But if you're the host of this show, you have a good 20 more to go.
Yes.
And that brings us to the music video, and holy shitballs. That's all I can say.
Nothing for this. It's fantastic. It's weird.
It's great.
It has 32 million views only. Like, I don't know, a significant, like probably 2 to 3% of these views.
It's pretty great. For any complaints I have for the song, I have none for the music video, aside from, what in the world's happening?
I think what happened is 1982 must have been the year that like special effects became a thing.
Yeah. VHS special effects.
Right.
So I'm going to take us through it. You stop me at any point if I miss anything or you want to dive deep. But it's such a hodgepodge of truly bizarre imagery that I challenge anyone to understand what I'm about to say.
Yeah, and I will say this. There's a woman throughout this who I think is doing a better Rose the Hat than Rebecca Ferguson in that Stephen King film.
Wow.
She's terrifying.
Dr. Sleep.
Yeah. I could see her stealing a child's steam, Garrett.
Good night. Folks, if you have kids, don't watch that movie. It is authentic. There's a full 2 minutes
It's not
of a child
authentic.
being
To be
murdered.
clear, it is not authentic.
Well, sure, children are not full of steam that can be extracted for the
Yeah,
continuous
more
life
importantly,
of
children
demons.
are not murdered for the in the movie, like you implied.
Oh, not in real life. I'm just saying don't watch that if you got kids. It feels very authentic.
Yes, okay.
I am complimenting how authentic their child murder is. Is that clear?
It is now, yes.
Good. All right, music video. We open tight on a metal orb spinning on a cymbal. Sorry, folks. This is how this is going to go. Then we cut over to a flame that's playing in reverse. So you can tell it's not actually the video. It's a video of a flame in reverse for some reason. Then we see a pretty lady. And in the background, as though looking through a window, we see what I hope is Steve. And he's wearing what I originally thought were his eyes blacked out like the witness protection program or the victim of a murder. But it turns out those are those dumb 80s glasses that look like a big rectangle.
Yeah, and
he's peeping.
Yes, well, Stephen Miller is only in this in still photographs because he was touring Europe when this was filmed and really does not take part in it.
Could you imagine showing this to him? He must have been just like, what?
Well, no, think about this, Garrett. This looked really good in 1982. He was like, yeah.
I guess, but I don't know. Let's keep going. So Steve's peeping through the window, but it is just like literally a cutout of him. And then we cut hard to a magician who's dressed like a bullfighter, and he's doing some light magic with his assistant, that blonde lady. Then we have two people people juggling fire back and forth for no apparent reason. Then things get real weird. Couple of shirtless dudes in blacked out goalie masks from the 80s do a synchronized dance while wearing gaucho pants like they work at a churrascaria.
Those are...
Let me know if I've mischaracterized anything, Tim.
You have not.
So far, so good. Then they do some magic and make a bird appear. The bird is either wearing a mask or they have glued tiny bird bangs onto it. Wasn't clear to me what I was looking at.
I can tell, not only did you watch this many times, you did some pauses.
Oh, there were some pauses. Then the blonde lady's back. She snuggles with a rat for no apparent reason before we meet a couple of random Harlequin clowns that start doing magic of their own.
Yes.
The blonde assistant juggles scarves, which is exactly as impressive as it sounds.
It's actually harder than you would think, Garrett. Because they fall
imagine
at
that's
weird
true.
rates.
No.
Because you're used to balls or pins or even rings. And all of a sudden you've got these things that are falling slow. No, sir.
I can't imagine that's true. And here's for WIHTA Fun Fact 22704-B. Timothy Richardson, at the drop of a hat, can juggle between 3 and 5 balls.
Yes.
You can't do more than 5, though. You can't do 6.
No, God, no, Garrett. No one can.
Gino, could you check on that? He's going to check. Okay. Then they wrap up that lady in a blanket like she's a CIA asset, and she changes into a more magical top hat style magician outfit when they unwrap her. She dances with a clown for a bit before she lays down, and a different thing appears next to her. First it's a rat, then it's a chicken, and then it's a baby.
Garrett, just turn this off and watch this music video. It is... He's not lying about any of this.
It's all very accurate. Then she blows kisses out the fake window we saw at the beginning. Steve's back. It's still just a cutout from a photograph. He's still wearing the ugly glasses and he's playing guitar. The rest of the video is just filler. Literally, they are all scenes that we have already seen with VHS effects applied to them, as Tim alluded to earlier.
Yeah, it's like, you know that A Scanner Darkly film? It's
like the
worst
rotoscoped
version of that. Yes, the worst version of a rotoscope you've ever seen.
Yeah, early third-party smartphone camera apps had a bunch of these filters.
It looks like it was done by accident. Like they left the VHS footage too close to like boiling acid or something, but just for like a really short period of time.
Yeah, but the end result is decidedly not very cool.
Right.
And that brings us to how did it do? So Tim, how did it do?
Quite well, Garrett. This was a #1 single in the US, Australia, Austria, Belgium, Canada, Israel, Portugal, Spain, Sweden, and Switzerland, although it only hit #2 in Denmark, Iceland, Ireland, South Africa, and the UK, and it only made it to #26 within the Dutch. It was the 44th best-selling song in the US in the 1980s. The entire decade.
Jesus H. Christ.
Allegedly the 99th best-selling song from 1958 to 2018. So basically ever, or at least since Billboard was recording such things.
What?
It is certified double platinum in the US and is Mr. Miller's biggest and also last hit until those immigration orders a few decades later, which, and this is true, were a hit in certain circles.
There it is. Yikes. What did people think of it?
Well, Garrett, we have a Robert Christgau review if you'd like to play the Robert Christgau game. With longtime band buddy Garrett Malaber making like Jeff Barry, Miller fulfills his hippie destiny and turns into the Archies, or really the Monkees, since he did write the title hit himself, and it will probably stand as the biggest pop tune of 1982, by which I definitely don't mean the most quintessential, because this one is blissfully catchy and blissfully simple and blissfully schlocky and blissfully tricky, like the rest of the album, only more so. Garrett Harvey, what did Robert Christgau think of this stupid song and or the album?
Oof. B+.
And Garrett, he gave it a B. Straight B.
All right. Not sure how to feel about that game when I get it right.
Well, you didn't, so don't have to worry about it.
Okay. Hey, Gino, just shorthanded, okay? Timothy, and note the time. What time is it? 6:44. Okay.
Well, don't tell
him.
Okay.
We'll do something with that later. Okay. That's what he thought of it. Do you have any other reviews for us?
Well, Garrett, there are 166 total ratings on Amazon, 4.7 out of 5 stars on average, 82% 5 stars, 0% 1 star. I will read one of these, and then I'm going to tell you what's in another one, and then we'll get to those YouTube comments. David Charles Charles Leitner in 2013 said, "Another great song to listen to when I'm writing my books. The Ice Witch Tribes, The Ice Witch 2, Seers of Solstice, Dinosaur Dreams, Indian Trails, The Utopia 6, The New Planet, Open Season, A Psychopath Created, and The Swamp, Priestess, all on Amazon Kindle ebooks, only $2.85 each, by David Charles Leitner, 5 out of 5 stars."
I love this. I hope that David Charles Leitner does this with every single purchase he makes on Amazon.com. These brawny paper towels are absorbent and strong and great for using when I'm writing my books. And just list them all.
Yes. The only other review of note, I won't read it, but I will say that Richard T. Waddle included a very long video of him jumping rope in his 5-star 2008 review, and 9 people found it helpful.
What? Why?
I don't know. I didn't find it helpful.
Well, that's good to hear, I suppose.
Yes.
What did Google have to say?
Well, YouTube, Garrett.
Whatever.
The YouTube comments, Garafiti9109 4 years ago, and this is edited. "My dad liked this song. I listened to this when I was 6 years old, but my dad is dead now, and that's why I'm here, because I remember him. Update. It's been 3 years now since he's dead."
Wait, that full stop? That's it?
Yeah, he had to update, because originally...
Still dead. Is the update.
Given how magical with a K this song is, I was a little terrified.
I swear to God, I was really hoping that 3 years later, turns out my dad faked his death, joined the Steve Miller Band, been touring ever since.
Yeah.
God damn it.
Rita Walker, 3146 1 year ago. "I'm a 77-year-old lady with cancer and can still rock to this one."
You know what you're doing.
Judge Chloe, 6231. 4 months ago. "Thank you for reminding me of this song, Papa Meat." Oh, God.
Papa Meat?
Papa Meat. "Thank you for reminding me of this song, Papa Meat."
We don't know what to make of that.
Paul G. Garcia, 3300 4 years ago. "I was born 1959, Houston, Texas, Mexican-American. I joined the U.S. Navy 1976 and lost my girlfriend. 36 years later, I found her again. We plan to get married soon. She's still a beautiful magic thrill to us." Bunch of emojis, Paul Garcia.
Didn't even mention the song.
Yeah, Garrett, he lost her in the Navy. He took her out to sea. She fell off. She ended up living on an island for 36 years.
It sounds wrong.
Now they're getting married.
Oh, good for them, I guess.
One last one, Garrett. The Angry Bears fan 3054 from 3 months ago. "I've had the blessing of knowing this song before Eminem remade it. This is my mom's favorite song. Therefore, it's my own favorite."
Oh.
To which I ask you, Garrett, what's your mom's favorite song? And is it also your favorite song? And is it Abracadabra by the Steve Miller
It's not
Band?
Abracadabra. I believe it's Tom Jones. It's not unusual to be loved by anyone.
Weird choice. What's your mom's
and-
favorite Steve Miller writing? Is it his Trump immigration stuff?
I didn't ask, but probably.
Yeah.
Alrighty, Tim. Great reviews. That brings us to who is this for? Who is this for?
I don't know. It's for people whose moms like it, and I think movie soundtracks.
Chili's?
Yes, a Chili's commercial.
Department stores? It's for the background of all situations.
No, it's for the background of, like, hip situations where you could expect Guy Fieri to show up at any moment.
I think it fits in a lot of places, but definitely Guy Fieri's there.
Yes.
Alrighty, that brings us all the way around to the question we began with, and I'm curious, Tim, did you reverse get there? Do you hate this song?
I really enjoy your theory about it being about a guy who is super into this magic show. Super scared, so into it. So
okay, wait, you or him?
No, this guy, the guy you imagine.
Okay, good.
But I think I still hate the song. The song sucks, Garrett. This is a bad song. What about you? Did you get there? Did I get you there? Did me and Steve Miller simultaneously get you there as if you were attending a magic show in sweatpants?
No to that. Just no. I want to go on the record to whatever you said. No. However.
Yes.
Do I hate this? Yeah. Yeah, I really do.
Yeah.
Some people call me the Space Cowboy.
Now that's a good song. You ever watch that movie Space Cowboys with Tommy Lee Jones and some other guys?
We're going into space.
Yeah. It's a good movie.
No, it isn't.
Disagree.
That's James Garner, Clint Eastwood, and Tommy Lee Jones.
Guy.
Is that right?
There's a fourth guy.
Dennis, no, Kiefer Sutherland's father.
Oh, Donald Sutherland.
Donald Sutherland, that's right. I always just knew him as Mr. Sutherland.
Yeah, being friends with Kiefer.
Frenemies, Tim, frenemies.
Well, going to his house often as a boy. When you were both boys together.
Yes, when me and Kiefer Sutherland were the same age as boys. God, that guy is a solid 20 years older than me. Good stuff. Alrighty, that brings us to listener mail. Wait, did I answer your question?
Yeah, you hate it.
Yes. Okay. Okay, that does bring us to listener mail, Tim, and we should maybe make sure that we don't have the exact same mail, because we've had some real bangers in the last 5 to 10 days.
I got a bunch of them, so you can go first.
I'll go with Anton.
Oh, this man's profile picture is an adorable red panda.
Okay. Anyway, this email's from Anton, titled Buck Wild Style. And as usual, I have not read past the first sentence. Hey fellas, really enjoyed your banter in the last podcast about Jack Harlow. Use this as you like. Okay, so we've got permission. From the desk of Anton. Greetings, Mr. Harvey. Oh, it's to me. In your deposition... Uh-oh.
Oh, it is to you. Yeah.
In your deposition, I think he means podcast, you stated multiple times, variety is the spice of life, baby. That does sound like me. While we at the AFT appreciate a cooking metaphor as much as the FDA, we feel the need to clarify that no actual spices, fires, or explosives should be involved in your future fornication for the safety of the citizens and property of the United States.
Do you think he meant ATF?
I assume so.
Okay.
Anton, you may have dyslexia. Anyhoozleby, he continues. Per our agreement, we have continued to refer to the current events in California as simply wild f***ers.
Some of that's getting bleeped out. Jesus Christ.
Yeah. Had nothing to do with my fuck style being buck wild.
Oh dear.
He continues. We appreciate that you have been notifying your neighbors of your sexual habits per the... Okay, we may be cutting a lot of this. Notifying your neighbors of your sexual habits per the... However, while you have been technically fulfilling the obligations of the we are concerned with the tone of these notifications. We have been told by several individuals that you are claiming your, quote, buck wild fornication style, end quote, is certified and notarized. We can only assume that your claims came off as boasting by the way that they are asking to be similarly documented. Well, yeah, I was boasting. To be fair, this may be a misunderstanding as it appears your neighborhood is heavily infested with Dutch. We have had some layoffs recently and the translators were the first to go. It is possible that your Dutch neighbors may have been reporting their abduction and captivity, simply asking for their passports back. Who's to say?
We do live right off Amsterdam Street.
That's true. It has also come to our... My God, this is long. It has also come to our attention that you may be involved in unlicensed, quote, turtle experiments involving high doses of narcotics, stimulants, and radiation. Well, yeah, there's no other way to make Ninja Turtles, asshole. Is there any truth to this? If so, please stop. Or proceed with our blessing. Well, that's confusing. Who knows anymore? Teenage Mutant Drug-Addicted Turtles may be the new branch of the military by the end of the year.
Oh, dear.
Yeah, that's possible. How did he know about our research? Anyway, also, we should inform you that due to budgetary cutbacks, we have recently outsourced your enforcement to a group of citizen volunteers, the Tims. Wait a minute. Also, technically, that is not it is voluntary check-in. Anyway, apparently the president of the organization himself has agreed to take your case personally, stating that, quote, Mr. Harvey should feel very honored that Cowboy Tim is dedicating his cowboy time, end quote. This cannot be true. His assistant Gino, no last name on file, will send you his contact information in a risque gift basket.
He does do that.
Yeah, he does. Well, I mean, we've been known to give a gift basket or two.
Yeah, but that guy shops exclusively at like bridal shower stores. It's a
real nuisance. I would love to have a goddamn cake that wasn't shaped like a penis, or you go to get a fucking stir stick out, you want to make an adult drink and it's yet another penis. Everything's a dick in this house, Pete, you fucking Italian weirdo. It's like he doesn't know that there's a goddamn real grocery store. He only knows to go to novelty shops. Christ. Yeah, I know it's convenient. Anyway, sorry. Wrapping up here. Please make sure you check in with him weekly. You may want to record these sessions yourself. He didn't seem like like the kind of paperwork type guy, and we will need proof that these interactions are taking place. May God have mercy on us all. Anton.
Weird email.
All over
Anton.
the map. Yeah, all over the map, my guy. I like it, though.
Yes.
What do you got, Tim? Some sort of email from Anton?
No, Garrett. I have an email from Keith Z-G. It's
Interesting.
called
This was not in my list.
R.E. Syria.
Oh, no.
Yak now. Only in retrospect is it clear it actually turned out all right for them. All things considered. Real relative measure granted. But them's the 2040s. Yours futurely, Future Keith.
HeyPodmail@gmail.com. Are you a future citizen? Tell us what happens. Future
Yes.
Keith.
There is
Thank
a
you
PS
for writing
on this.
in. Oh.
He said, I should probably mention... Then it cut off. I don't know what happened. Possibly some sort of laser war? I don't know. Maybe he just hit send too early. Either way.
Future Keith, write in.
Yeah,
what
please.
happened?
Finish that. I want to know what you should probably mention.
Based on the content of that email and where you left off, I think we should assume laser war until proven otherwise.
Yes.
That's just smart.
Yes, it is.
Good email, Tim. Short
you.
to the point, from the future, like all those things. That brings us to music news of the weird. Would you like to go first or would you like me to? I think I'd like you to. Would you go first, Tim?
Absolutely, Garrett. In Grammy news, we have a winner. No, not Beyonce. I'm talking, of course, about Kendrick Lamar Duckworth and his song Not Like Us, which won Record of the Year, Song of the Year, Best Rap Performance, Best Rap Song, and Best Music Video, all in what I would like to think is the music industry collectively telling Aubrey Drake Graham to shut the fuck up and stop whining and stop suing people because they called you a pedophile. You are lucky that these allegations were made within the context of a diss track and not, as of yet, in a court of law.
An arraignment.
Yes.
Yeah, they got Diddy, bitch. You could be next.
Yeah, notably Aubrey's second-rate contributions to this feud were nominated for exactly 0 Grammys, and Mr. Duckworth's 5 wins from last night is equal to Aubrey's entire career, bringing his total wins up to 55 to Mr. Duckworth's 5. Also notably, no one gives a shit about the Grammys.
Yeah, we should point out there's going to be a lot of Grammy news this week, but above all else, the Grammys are bullshit.
Yes, they do not matter.
Although I did find it very funny that, did you see what he wore? He wore a fucking Canadian tuxedo. Just denim on denim. Just another fuck you, Drake.
Yeah.
It's good stuff.
Yeah. I await the day that they get into a sword fight. Garrett, what other Grammy news do you have?
Well,
they are in a sword fight, to be clear.
Like, my name is Inigo Montoya, you killed my father, prepared to die? Like, that kind of deal?
I don't get the reference.
That's frustrating. Well, Tim, my first Grammy story was actually a reference to something you mentioned at the top of the show, and I should have known you would have, and that is, of course, that Jaden Smith and his sister showed up to the Grammys to remind everyone that they were raised very poorly by out-of-touch mega millionaires, and boy does it show. As Tim mentioned, Jaden showed up to the Grammys wearing a giant castle on his head.
Yes, it was
embarrassing for both of you. Mm-hmm. And his sister, not to be outdone, just wore her underpants beneath a black coat.
Yes.
I will say, if you Google photos of Jaden...
Garrett,
wait, what's up?
Garrett, I don't think we should say not to be outdone because she was immediately outdone.
That's true. That, because her brother had a castle on his head.
Oh, I was talking about that lady
evening.
that showed up with her vagina out.
Oh, that's the next story.
Oh, carry on.
Don't ruin it. Madam, could you put your vagina away? It's hanging out. Let's see here. Where was I? If you Google Jaden Smith to see the castle on his head, and you should, that's a good use of your time. Let me know if you find one with him smiling. He seems like somebody put it on his head, he could not get it off his head, and then he had to go to the Grammys with it on there.
It's possible. I did my thing to myself on purpose.
Yeah, no.
And I was smiling ear to ear until people were like, hey, just like Jaden. And I was like, what?
Yeah, no, you built that around your head on purpose. Yes. I think he may have gotten his stuck looking for a treat.
Yeah, it happens.
Tim, what other news you got?
Ooh, Garrett, in delicious treats news, Why I Hate This Album alumnus Post Malone is collaborating with Nabisco to create a brand new Oreo flavor. Get fucking excited. Because, Garrett, just like Mr. Malone's face tattoos, Oreo seems to be just throwing a bunch of random shit together and hoping that a coherent theme magically emerges by chance. There is one normal chocolate Oreo cookie, one golden Oreo cookie, and then the goo is a swirl of salted caramel and shortbread flavored stuff. A combination, you guessed it, soon to be as classic as chocolate and peanut butter. They also have 9 different things stamped into the cookies themselves, each representing a different part of Mr. Malone's Malone's musical journey, a sunflower, a guitar, a truck, a butterfly. These things represent him, I guess. But in a project stretching back to 2014, Mass Live rates all the different Oreo flavors, and it gave this Post Malone Oreo, or it ranked it number 65 out of 95 different tried Oreo variations, ranging from the best, s'mores, at number 1, to the banana split at number 95. Apparently that one is gross.
Previous attempts to make a Post Malone flavored Oreo included cigarette butts and Jim Beam.
Yes.
Both ranked higher than banana split.
Yes. And they sprinkle a little
gross.
beard hair in there just to top it off.
It sounds super gross.
Yeah. What other food news do you have for us, Garrett? Let's have some food news, or Grammy news, or grammar news.
I don't think I have any of those things. I guess we could get to the Kanye bit of it. So Kanye West showed up to the Grammys briefly so that he could remind everybody that he's brainwashed his wife, or possibly is taking advantage of somebody with a diminished capacity. That, of course, is when he showed up with...
I think it's some sort of humiliation fetish that they're both super into.
Yeah, because, he seems like a crazy person, and she seems like a hostage. She arrives with Kanye in tow, wearing a fur coat, only to remove it and reveal that Miss Bianca Sensori is wearing, I think that's how you say her name, is wearing a dress of completely see-through mesh, revealing her naked body. Thoroughly objectified and photographed, Kanye whisked her back into the car, and they left the show.
Yeah, it seemed like he kind of got offended that people were, taking pictures of her.
She's naked. And they, just literally stood next to her with his legs, like he was posing next to...
Yeah, with that weird wide stance he does, where he looks like a little angry, but also you're not scared of him because,
he's standing like he's waiting at soccer practice. It's just very odd.
It's like the football coach, when they tuck the folded up plays in the back of their pants for some reason, and then they cross their arms and their legs are way too wide, and it's just none of it makes any sense.
Yeah, you look weird. Yes. Yeah, so he put his wife on display and then seemed to get angry at everybody when they looked at her.
Yeah.
And then he left.
Yeah.
I don't know. I feel really bad for her.
Yeah, well, she is a hostage, but she's probably super into this. I'm just going to throw that out there. A lot of people like being publicly humiliated for sexual gratification. Unless she is literally a hostage. That's probably what's going on here, huh?
Hostage or humiliation fetish. One of the two. Nothing in between. Tim, what other hostage news do you have?
Well, Garrett, in possibly fake news, and also this didn't happen recently, so it isn't really news either way, Liam Gallagher was apparently unaware that Spinal Tap was not a real band for way too long.
That's awesome.
In 2001, months before 9/11, Spinal Tap did a reunion show at the Big Apple's Carnegie Hall, and Oasis went to the show. And recently, Noel decided to tell this story, possibly because it's a lie, to embarrass his stupid potato-y brother. Apparently, Liam was a very big fan of This Is Spinal Tap, the documentary, and was excited to see them in person, but got pissed off when the opening band was Christopher Guest, Michael McKean, and Harry Shearer as their own supporting act. Noel said, "They came on as 3 folk singers from the film A Mighty Wind. We were laughing and he said, 'This is shit.' We said, 'No, those 3 are in Spinal Tap. You do know they are American actors. They're not a real band. They're not English, and one of them is married to Jamie Lee Curtis.' To which Liam said, 'I'm not fucking having that,' and walked off in the middle of Carnegie Hall. He never watched Spinal Tap since." And again, this is probably completely made up on the spot by Noel to make fun of Liam. It's unclear, but either way, pretty fucking funny.
I don't know, everything I've heard about those two, that I could definitely see that happening.
Yeah. They both seem stupid.
Yeah.
Liam
one
maybe
a lot stupider than the other.
Yeah. I think it's the haircut that makes them either seem dumber or actually be dumber. Garrett, what news from just months before 9/11 do you have for us?
Well, Tim, just
oh my god! Sorry, I thought you were taking that.
I was going to say just before our own soon. Nah, you know what? That's too far. The Black Keys, Tim, have announced a new run of North American dates for the spring leg of their No Rain, No Flowers tour. The upcoming tour finds the Black Keys returning to the road after a fairly tumultuous 2024. You might recall their arena tour to support their last album, Ohio Players, was canceled amid reports of very low ticket sales. Now, if that weren't bad enough, Tim, I did a bit of research and I was like, God, did they just completely cancel all their dates last year? No. They did play a few choice dates, including a private date, Tim, and I looked at who was this private date for, and it was sponsored by the pro-cryptocurrency political action group Stand With Crypto. And I won't go into any of the details about what Stand With Crypto supports, but you can guess who they support, and if you Google them, you can see what they've supported. So if you had any particular reason to remain a fan of the Black Keys, go ahead and just kiss that goodbye. They support garbage people.
Yes. Also, you should not have been a fan of the Black Keys since 2008, maybe? Is that the last time?
The Black Keys basically couldn't be a better modern example of the Steve Miller Band Abracadabra-ification of a band. You had a blues rock inspired band, and then what's his dick who likes to come along and put bleeps and blorps in everybody's normal music?
They got ruined by Danger Mouse, they're the classic example of Danger Mouse, because the first time he worked with them, he's like, let's add a little Danger Mouse into your Black Keys, and it was kind of good, and then he just Danger Moused all over the place.
Yeah, and then it wasn't. It never was again. Even their, Return to Their Roots album, not very good. It's like Ham Sandwich or something. No, that's somebody else. Anyway, too many other news.
Let's see, some more Grammy stuff. The Rolling Stones somehow won the Best Rock Album for Hackneyed Diamonds, and we should probably talk about that. The Beatles and some sort of algorithm won Best Rock Performance.
That doesn't make any sense.
Diane Warren is up for another Oscar, which you'll lose. No, I think we're good. I think I'm done with news. What about you?
Well, in my final story, this is time sensitive. If you live in the Boca Raton area, I have a treat for you. Miss Priscilla Presley, the wife to the king, will be hosting, quote, The King and I, a Q&A about living with Elvis at the Wick Theater in Boca Raton during 2 appearances on Saturday, February 22nd. Both will feature personal clips, including home movies and scenes from their wedding. Now, the reason that I wanted to share this was not that I think anyone will go to this, although if you do, please God, write in heypodmail@gmail.com. But Tim, this couldn't be weirder music news. This woman is just, one, how could you possibly need any money, Priscilla Presley? You should be set. But 2, just talking about living with Elvis?
Maybe she really believes in this project.
Maybe I'm cynical. That's fantastic. Okie dokie. That brings us to the end of the show. As always, rate, review, subscribe, blah, blah, blah. But Tim, before we get to all that, I'm curious, what album are we going to be listening to for an entire week straight before we come back here and talk about it?
We are going to be listening to the oft-requested Justin Timberlake 2018 masterpiece, Man of the Woods.
Wow, that's so long.
I don't know.
Whatever.
I've never heard of it.
Apparently that's the quote-unquote bad one, but I don't know what the good one was, so this will be fun. Okay, well, folks, you've been here, you've heard it, so please write in, heypodmail@gmail.com. Tell us what you like, weird stories, memories from these songs, recommendations for other albums we should be doing. I think there's some new theme music on the horizon. We love some new cover art. Everybody gets mad when we use AI art, but nobody wants to do new art for us, so, what's the deal with that?
Don't blame them.
No, I'm gonna blame them. I'm gonna blame them. I'm blaming them right in their stupid faces. Blaming you.
Don't blame them, Garrett. It's really more your fault.
I feel like it's yours. And then I think it's theirs, then yours, then a distant third mine. Maybe Gino's in the mix.
Gino's definitely in the mix.
Yeah. You are useless. Sorry. Anyway, reach out to us on Instagram. That's HeyPod. Twitter's HeyPod. I'm G Harvey Tweets if you want to talk to me, though God knows why you would. What else is out there? We're on Discord. We got subreddits. If you want to reach out, there's so many ways to do it. Just Google us and then boom, there you go. You found it all. Not on Pandora Premium. They know why. Won't ever be either. Okay. For Why I Hate This Album, I've been one of your hosts, Garrett Harvey.
I have been the other, Timothy P. Richardson, and although he will never get credit for it by his own design, Garrett P. Harvey has been just as influential on the course of Iranian history as Kermit P. Roosevelt Jr.
That's really kind of you to say.
I will say, I think it's a little bit of a showboat to use the same name, James Lockridge, to enter the country.
Honestly, I think they think it's so brazen they never check up on it.
Stop Ajaxing people.
There's cowboys running through my dreams. Nothing's quite the way it seems. I joined the Navy, got kicked out in a week. My facial features aren't distinct. Try to find some meaning in these songs. The genius is a genius, got it wrong. No, it's a lobster murder sex thing. It's the bleaching of the rear. A full assault on both your ears. The riffs are too repetitive. The lyrics make no sense. All the songs are B-sides. The cover art's a mess. Listen to it for a week. Now that week has passed. It's the Why I Hate This Album podcast with Tim and Gary.